Hello, everyone. Welcome back to UC Central Live. I hope you all enjoyed your sessions. I've got hopefully a really exciting conversation. I moved to the other stage for the first time this week, and we're going to talk to some great people. Earlier this year, in April, we released a new product called Instant Apps. And a good way to say it is this was designed for those of you with a need for speed. And I want to welcome 3 members of that team, Kelly, Krista, and Ryan. And let's start with Kelly. Kelly is remote for us. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name's Kelly Gerrow Wilcox. I'm a product manager with ArcGIS Online and the Instant Apps. So what I do is go around and talk to customers about kind of what you're looking for and get that over to our engineers for the building stage.
Thanks. Krista?
And my name's Krista McPherson. I am a product engineer working with the Instant Apps team. So I focus a lot on QA, testing, helping with any design and planning for new apps.
Hey everyone, my name is Ryan Libed. I'm a software development engineer here at Esri. I'm on the ArcGIS Online team, focusing on Instant Apps. Some apps I've worked on include Attachment Viewer, Interactive Legend, Portfolio, as well as the Instant Apps configuration experience.
So we thought this would be a really cool group to get together because you've got a lot of the pieces of the development teams here. You've got product management, we've got product engineering, you've got product development. So you've really got the whole stack of how we build technology. So let's dive in. Kelly, let me start with you. Why were Instant Apps created? Why did we do this?
Right. And that's a great question of kind of like why do we build this? And a lot of the reasons come down to our customers. I spend a lot of my time talking to customers, not just about apps, but about all of ArcGIS Online. And we have quite a few different types of apps. I did a great session yesterday about choosing the right one. Instant Apps are definitely one of those choices. But what we really needed to do was have some kind of easy to get started apps that were really focused on kind of workflows that we see people using all the time, like wildfires. When you're building an app with evacuation areas and wildfires, you really need to get that up and running with your data quickly and out to the customers. So a couple things happened there. We had worked with our customers and understood that this was a need to have this kind of fast building application. But we also had this great new JavaScript API that had a bunch of new functionality. And we had kind of some other apps from the configurable apps that had a lot of different configuration experiences. So we wanted to really kind of bring those all together into a streamlined experience, have it really straightforward of what you need to do to get up and running, and then provide some additional abilities to kind of have that deep functionality that you need for specific purposes.
Yeah, no, it's really cool to kind of give a little insight into like why we actually do things. So that's the why. What are Instant Apps?
Instant Apps, as Kelly described, are really our goal there is to get customers up and running with their apps in just a couple of minutes. Right now we've got apps that support maps, groups, and scenes depending on what our customers need. And some of these Instant Apps might seem a little familiar to people. Previously, they were categorized as configurable apps like Attachment Viewer, Nearby. So several of those apps have been migrated from configurable apps into that new configuration experience. And we also have several brand new templates that we're just coming up with based on feedback from our customers and what people need.
Yeah, so you've really kind of consolidated some things that existed before. You guys have built some new things, and now you've got this nice kind of package called Instant Apps.
Absolutely. And when it comes to Instant Apps, obviously instant implies that they're going to be ready to go quickly, ready to share. We try to make them simple and that they're intended for a focused workflow and that they're intuitive to build and use for customers. Another big thing we try to do is we try to design and test with accessibility in mind. Because as Kelly mentioned, with wildfires, you might be a government agency or a local city who's sharing these apps, and you need to make sure that those apps are going to be interactive for customers working with assistive technology. So we try to make that as easy as possible for our customers.
No, it's great. It's great that we're thinking about that. We're thinking about what our customers need, or our customers' customers.
Actually. Exactly.
And for the folks who aren't yet familiar with what Express and Full Setup are, they're basically the app configuration modes, and it's designed to be streamlined and easy to use. So Express Setup, it's built as a series of steps where you can get your app up and running in a matter of minutes, hence the name Instant Apps. And Express offers settings that don't just get the app up and running, but they also provide essential app capabilities in helping users understand what's important about your data. For an example, let's talk through attachment viewers express setup. So you'll select your map that has attachments, include an introductory panel and/or a map legend, include map capabilities like feature search, and finally style your app. And with that, you'll have an app that's ready to share.
Oh, okay. So is that kind of like, if we think about the plenary, if I remember correctly, and hopefully everybody does, Kenyon did that demo and just like showed like boom, 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 we have an app.
Yep.
So that was really Express set up for, I think, what, like the minimalist template?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, cool. So that's the minimal piece, the Express piece. Mm-hmm. How do I do it quickly? Now, maybe we're more advanced, I get familiar with them. There's a full setup too, right?
Right, yeah. So full setup, that's where the rest of the app settings are offered. And this is where you can really configure the app to its full potential. And similar to Express setup, the settings are broken up into different sections. Some common sections are like the About section, the Interactivity section, the Theme and Layout section. And the team has done a lot of hard work in thinking through the organization of the settings to really drive that ease of use experience. And the team has also done a lot of work in providing helpful tips and in describing what each setting does and have that in the UI available to the user. So Kelly or Krista, do either of you have any examples of what's provided in an Instant Apps full setup?
Yeah. I think like one of the most key examples that I can think of is the nearby and the ability to add filters for it. So we've seen a lot of nearby applications being used for, let's say, COVID vaccine finders or really COVID testing finders. And a lot of times people want to know a little bit more or be able to filter it out. So first, with Express setup, you can just get that set up, ready to go. But then you can actually add in filters like, is this a drive-through testing site? What type of testing? Do you need appointments or not? And so it just adds that additional amount of information to that app to make it even that more powerful for its purpose.
No, that's great. And so if we kind of go down that road a little bit more, a little deeper, so what excites all of you? So obviously you've got examples, you're dealing with customers, you're getting requirements. Like what have you seen out there that just really gets you going?
Well, there's a couple things that excite me. So just the other day, I was browsing through some Portfolio instant apps. And Portfolio is an app where you can have all your maps and your apps all in one place. And a couple of examples I've seen, one was regarding exploring race population within the United States. Another one was regarding renewable energy in the Republic of Ireland. And what's exciting is that to see an app that I've built is allowing others to showcase all of their hard work, as well as helping others share information in what they think is important to the rest of the world. But in a more general sense, instant apps are being used to address real-world issues like finding the nearest COVID vaccination site with nearby, or documenting community efforts in cleaning up vandalism with Attachment Viewer. And it's such a rewarding experience to be involved in building web apps that can have such a positive impact.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I mean, we all know that our customers are doing really important work, and to be able to work on something that then allows people to get this critical information out there, wildfires, COVID vaccinations, like this is all really important stuff that we get to participate in. And in particular for me, one of the most kind of exciting projects that I got to work on was the new landing page. So customers might have seen in ArcGIS Online now you can create instant apps, and if you have a map in your background and you launch it from the map viewer, it will the landing page will kind of analyze what's in your map, your data, and your settings, and suggest which app might be compatible with the information that you have.
Okay.
Yeah, and one thing that we really wanted to include was this ability to go through and preview what your map is going to look like in different apps.
Okay.
And we included this functionality where you could actually publish your app instantly in some of the examples we've given, wildfires, things like that, where information needs to get out right away. You might go back and configure something later, but you just need to get that information out there. And one thing we wanted to communicate to people was on that preview option that you have the option to publish instantly. And so we had all these conversations about how to communicate that. And one thing I remember suggesting was putting this little lightning bolt icon on the preview. And that's such a minor little detail, but it's so rewarding to see something that you've suggested, like actually go into the product and be used. Yeah, to show up. Exactly.
No, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Kelly, what you got an exciting thing? I'm sure you do.
Yeah. I think it's really exciting when like I talk to a customer, they tell me about a problem, and it actually like goes into the software. So an example is actually from a user conference where we were in person, and I was talking to one of the GIS managers from Broward County, and they explained this problem to me where their users would start looking into their application and accidentally get stuck in the Everglades. So there was none of their data over there, and they were just like stuck there. So what happened is we came up with this new functionality that's in all of the apps that's called the navigation boundary. And what it does is it sets up a little playground for users to explore so that they don't get lost. They don't end up over on Null Island or in South Africa when you want them looking at Florida. And it really has kind of improved the user experience and really guides the users. So that's really exciting when we see kind of these problems get solved.
Yeah, that's a great example. And like, yeah, we don't want anybody suddenly in the middle of the Everglades, or they think they're in, they're in a totally different country. We've got about a minute or two left. Let's kind of wrap up with, what are your top, each of you, what are your kind of top tips that you've got to give? Like, hey, what do people really need to know? Because that's what they love to hear.
Right.
Cool. So from my perspective, once you get a feel for Express setup and you're comfortable with navigating through the configuration, don't be afraid to dive into full setup, because as I mentioned earlier, that's where you can really configure the app to its full potential. And in the full setup, you can really leverage the rest of the app's capabilities. So yeah, once you're comfortable with Express, dive into full setup.
Yeah, so you've got the idea of like, we've got this great way to get things done quick, get things done easily, and then like, hey, there's more you can do.
Right.
Right. And don't be scared. Play with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, I mean, it sounds like a really simple answer, but if you want to have a great app, you got to start with a great map. So you want to go through and really choose a style for your map that communicates the information that you're trying to share with your users. And Map Viewer has a ton of great options. Like they have that new above and below symbology. They've got a ton of great vector style symbols that you can use. And the other thing that's always really important, especially if you're looking at using apps like Attachment Viewer or Nearby, is that you go ahead and configure that pop-up, because our instant apps are going to inherit all that information. So if someone's yes, exactly, from the pop-up.
Yeah. So actually, let me go to Kelly real quick before we got to run back. Kelly, what is your tip? What do you got?
Just add a map. That's all you need to do. Get your map, put it in. It's like instant coffee, man.
That is a phenomenal way to end this segment. Thank all of you for being with us. Thank you for sharing with our users.